All aboard, as the old BAV A5, Bavaria A5, has been retired from service, or at least production, and we're now going to take a look and see what's going to take to replace it in our systems. We've got a bunch of good little vehicles, and we're getting some crowded messages. We're still running that 2.5. We're in November of 88 here, 1888 that is. And if I sound a little bit better, I took a shower, rinsed the eye out one more time, got some more gunk out, and the swelling has gone down considerably to the point where I don't look like I'm having a stroke, with the eye at least. So that's always a good thing. Alright, it's time to take and start doing that new subdivision we began, which I'm going to call something totally different. We're going to go into this town right here and change its name. Nah. We're going to call this Delos from now on. And this is going to be the Delos subdivision that we're building up to. And we're going to bring our trains across and end out a run down here to take and have a terminus over here at Delos. A couple of little things to take and consider as I'm going along. There we go. And that is that one, pretty certain I don't want the setup I had there. We are going to take and shift where that signal is, move him closer to there, and then do a tiny little setup here that's going to take and allow us to take and just do a spur off for now. And everything, with the exception of this one here, will be one ways on the other trains. There we go. This one will temporarily, until we decide what we're going to do about the duck pond, be a different type of setup. Alright, we've got our setups. Let's go ahead and dispatch first the cargo trains, because we know those will make money. Get them $3.99 trains out there and onto the rounds. And just getting some weird names for right now, not really caring too much about how funky people think some of them are, because we're going to be building these to function for a time period, getting us what we need. The Delos Granger. And then we've got one more to take and do after we get him cleared. And that is to set up one train to hopefully deliver us a good setup of Zug being the word for train, if I remember correctly. I did look it up. I haven't flipped over the card to take a peek. By the way, this is episode 16 in our German series for Pak64 in Simutrans. I'm Cali Jack, and this is How Not to Game with Cali Jack. Got a couple of small minor things to do there with some signaling. Nothing like a shower to make you feel human again. Alright, we got everything pretty much set up with the exception of one little thing. And that is just how good of a hops runner are we going to have here. Get them vehicles running and everything's going good. We'll see just how well everything works out in the end. Checking it out, making certain everything's going to the right spots, flowing through the right way. And there we go. Looking fairly good. Let's take a peek at our financials. 170. Yeah, we're doing much better. We're doing much better. We've gotten it back up into the black. Despite the new dispatch, this being the 11th, I'm not as worried as I should be. I think we've got a good run going. And it looks like our company is headed back towards being in the black. For the year, let's check that for the yearlies. Well, we're still in the red for the year, but that is a much better year for op profit. We won't have the construction costs and the new vehicles cost. We're at 1.4 down in the hole, and hopefully shrinking as time goes on. We'll see. Does look much better than what we were. Now we consider what we can do to start building our communities to have a decent little setup. And to do that, we're going to set some roads in. There we go. And that should get us a good setup for this community. Go ahead and close him out. Let's go ahead and get some halts in the place. We need one here to service those areas and one here for now. I'd like to put in one here and one here and then one over here. That'll get us a good setup for the eventual city we're building at Salford. Delos subdivision is starting to take shape. Do need to do an extension out on a road, so we will close this guy out and close that guy out. Let's go ahead and get those roads back open. We have one last thing to do. Extend out to about here and put in our garage. Get our barn open and start that first initial cart. Who's going to do something unusual. And we're going to call this the Salford Tea Coach for right now. Looking really good at 212,000 now. Op prof starting to get close to digging in. I think next year we will see some much better performances. Delos is our next stop, and we've got to take and do a little bit of work, just a little bit. Going to take and do a blast through here to run the rail line the rest of the way over. Build us a quick bridge across the headwaters of the stream. And then, whoops, wrong kind of bridge. Make a little station there that we can tie into for down the road for other venues. We will make our stop available, and the stop that's going to tie into the station after we get our station first. Let's do the station first. We're going to take the center line for the station. Should have took the 1x3 station, but I'm not in a hurry. And then do one little station there, one here, one over here. And that should cover the entire town. We will go ahead and build a bridge over, and right about here put in our Delos vehicle barn and start this vehicle running. On the Delos Y coach. Couch would have been a fun one to take and call it the couch coach. Could have called it that, but we're not after something that stupid. Close out all of our stations. Close out our build tools. Close landscaping and those guys. We're now into the new year. We're looking at what we're going to make. And this is where the money's going to make the rounds. Our biggest loss was our one losing year at 99,000 in the hole. Now, if we can just contain our expenditures, I think our monthlies will keep us going much better. Just one last thing to do, and that's our general train to connect them all up. And connect the cities and the others. So we will come to here, find ourselves a nice, swift little engine that's not super pricey. And there's not really one that's there. We're going to stick with one of these guys. Do the cheaper passenger compartments. And connect up Delos. So that we're good to go. Going to make it a 10% train from Salford. And from Delos it will be a 5% train. And this is going to be the Screecher, the Delos Sulfur Screecher. Get him running. We're into January. We were flirting with black ink before we sent the train out. Of course, the train's going to set us back quite a bit. But as things deliver, we will make money. We will need to take and do a passing sighting somewhere along there. I'm trying to think of a good spot to do it at. I think right along there at a diagonal. Just a short little siding, just enough to allow the trains to pass. Speed us up to 3.5 or a little bit beyond. And now we're going to see just how long it takes, and it doesn't take long at all. Oh my goodness. So one thing I did forget was to put in a signal here, and signals here, and here. Or eventually there'll be a choose signal for multiple platforms, so that we can run 2 Grangers and 2 hoppers. This lets us open up the throttles, and our trains are rolling. So we wound up with 14,000 the month before. That's a good, respectable number. I'm happy with it. We got at least 2 more episodes tonight, I hope. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Thank all of our subscribers. Thank you for trusting me enough to take and say, hey, he's funny enough, or he makes enough mistakes to make me feel better. And I don't mind making those mistakes, because they're less painful than the ones I make in real life. Like missing that step a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks back, that was misery. Hopefully, that doesn't happen again anytime soon. Don't have the cartilage, as I'm finding out, to take large compactions on the knees anymore. And as we're rolling along, I'm just waiting for February's final numbers, and that's where we're going to call it a episode here tonight. On this one, for 16, we've got the Delos subdivision up and running. Totally separate sub at this time, but I've got plans for tying it together to other places by sea, and I think we may like it. Who knows, we may not, but it might drive more for everything. Still running 1.5 in the hole, unfortunately, because of the construction. We're going to take and hold off on construction for quite a few months, and I am going to let it run at about 2.5 in between episodes while these are being uploaded, sorted through, and put into place for you to watch. It's going to be running 2.0. Matter of fact, once we get to the end of the month, get those numbers, you'll watch me down here again. Hit the period button, and that T equals will go down to 2.0 by holding that period button down, or just tapping it. Matter of fact, let's take it by a tap, and a tap, and a tap, down to 3.5. Slightly slower, but I think we're looking good. We're looking really, really good. Let's give it a speed up to take and get it to the end of the month. There's a full throttle 7. Holding it works like you're hitting it each time, so you don't have to tap, tap, tap. You can hold it until you hit the number. Very handy feature in the Pak64German. I am liking it now that I've figured it out. Took some time. We're on the 25th. When we hit the 27th, I'll start the slowdown, and we'll talk numbers. So we're reducing so far by 12,000. Looks like we're roughly about that. We're on the 27th, 28th. Take this all the way down to 2.0. where we said we were going to run at. And end of year, or end of month, 10.4 thousand. 10.4K, I can live with that reduction. We're still at 1.5 plus to the rough side, but hopefully our days of being in the red are behind us for a while we sit pat and merely do minor things for the next year or so, maybe two, until we get our debt down a bit and can turn maybe off down the road and try to run the risky game of no bankruptcy protection. I'm Callie Jack. Have a better day than I've been having. And please be safe out there, guys.